Steve Taylor with Think HR and Insurance Services. We create benefit plans people understand so they can actually use them. Congratulations, you decided to hire some employees. So now the questions are coming. How much do I pay them? What's a good salary? How much do great benefits cost? I need to be competitive. What's the budget around workers' comp or payroll taxes? What's my actual true cost here? In this video, we're going to go over how to create a budget from the employer side when you're hiring people. And also make sure you stay tuned to the end because I'll show you how you can make these numbers stack in your favor. So let's go ahead and let's dive right on in. Okay, so you decided to hire some employees. Now we're going to look at the cost. A lot of times when you're looking at creating a budget for, I don't know, for hiring people, the first number you come up with is how much am I going to pay them? In this scenario, we have 3 employees we're going to pay 200 grand. And we also have 3 employees we're going to pay 100,000, totaling for 900K of payroll. But what's the true cost? It's not 900K. It's definitely not. You're going to have certain insurances that you need to have. You're also going to have payroll taxes as an employer. So we're going to go ahead and go through those right now. So we're going to start here and we're going to look at some employee cost assumptions. I'm going to walk you through my thoughts on these numbers so you can see if they're applicable for you. But if you're professional services or you're in technology, you're doing something more like office work, you're not skydiving, or you don't have employees jumping out of buildings with parachutes, then your workers' comp is likely going to be around like $2,500 or so for this number. Now, it does depend on your SIC code and these employees' workers' comp codes. That all matters. But for this scenario, if it was a professional service tech company, it's about $2,500, about $417 per employee per year. Now, the health insurance piece, that can go all over the place. In California, in most states, if you're under 100 employees, it might be age rated. If you're using a PEO, it might be tiered. Age rated means if you're 25, the plan could be 500. If you're 50 for the same plan, the plan might be, I don't know, $1,500 just for you. Okay? So it can range. The number I feel makes the most sense as an employer when you're looking at this, just as a starting number, is $750 per employee per month. Now, if you want to be an employer of choice, you may want to consider what am I going to give for dependents? So this is going to also help you figure out, can I afford that or not, right? So we're not going to get into pre-tax benefits and all those things right now. We're just going to look at the raw numbers. $750 per employee per month is $9,000 per employee per year. We're creating an annual budget, so we want to go to annual numbers. Now, you also have to administrate your payroll, your benefits, 401k. Because if I'm an employee, where do I get my paycheck? Well, it's an app. It's Gusto, Rippling, ADP, all those different fun things, right? When we look at that, I would say the average cost when you consider payroll, HR, your benefit admin, where all your insurances live, and also COBRA administration, payroll taxes, all that stuff, about $125 per employee per month is a good estimate. Now, it's not always going to cost that much money, but this is an estimate. If you're on a PEO, it could be more. It also could be less. But we're going to use this for our budget. $125. So that's about $1,500 per employee per year. So we're going to stack on 9,000 there because trust me, you don't want to do payroll on the back of a napkin. Okay. So payroll taxes. This one is tricky. It is tricky because this 65,000, you have federal and you also have state in there. In our example today, we're going to work with California because California is one of our clients' most expensive states to hire people in. So we're going to use that. All right. I'm going to show you some things to look out for on those taxes. But towards the end, we'll talk about this number here because there's a lot of juice in there. There's a lot of juice. So look, this 900 grand again, you remember that your 3 $200,000 employees and your 3 employees at 100K. Let's go over an individual employee at 200K line by line so you can see where this budget is going. So the total estimated cost for this one employee is $224,000, right? And when you look at a percentage of gross payroll, it's 12.28%. Now, if we go down to 100,000, right now it's 19%. Whoa, what happened there? Well, when you look at these taxes, they're different at each level of employee, because what's happening? Well, you hit wage-based limits. So for FICA, it's 160,200 for, and that's for Social Security. For Medicare tax, it's up to 200 grand. So these folks down here don't get the like the max, right? So it's a little bit cheaper for them. However, once you pass all these like tax numbers up, all of a sudden, your output per dollar, that's what you really want to pay attention to. You want to know, like, hey, if I'm putting more dollars into this employee that's at 200K, how are they performing? That's how you start to get into what employee do I really need, right? You can start looking at these types of little scenarios. Now, when you move over to California, the state taxes, they work very similarly. When you look at the state unemployment insurance, that number, this 3.4%, can fluctuate. 3.4% is generally like a new business. You've never had employees before. 3.4% is where they start you out at. And if you have people who are constantly taking unemployment, then you're going to see that number go up. It's going to go up. So if you're north of the new business rate in the state, it's likely that you have a lot more people taking unemployment than the state average. Now, if you look at the other way, where, hey, like we're way below 3.4%, well, then congratulations, you have not had anybody really use state unemployment insurance, and you guys are doing a great job there. And then everybody has the ETT tax, which is 0.1% up to 7,000. I mean, it's a whole $7. So, I mean, not that bad. So for California, it's going to be like a total of $245 for the employee. Now, the feds, this is where it really costs you a lot of money. This is almost a little north of 13 grand, right? And then you also have for workers' comp, it's about 556 for this employee annually. And then again, we're going with the employer contribution of 750 a month, which is 9 grand a year. And that's how we get to this total of 224. Now, when we go down to the $100,000 a year employee, you'll notice again, some costs are fixed, like this admin fee, this is fixed. When you look at the federal and state contributions for the state, because the wage limit is only 7,000, you're capped. I mean, if you're not paying people at least $7,000 a year, you don't really need to worry about this. All right, so all right, so when we look at the other costs here, you look at workers' comp, you look at health insurance. Health insurance is actually something you can use Section 125 to code it as pre-tax. So this contribution from the employer can come pre-tax. So what does that mean? It means that, we're going to get into the secret I was going to give you, it means that we can lower this taxable amount by, in this case, $9,000. So for health insurance, that's something that would qualify as a Section 125, a pre-tax benefit. So when you get into the details of it, right, again, this is a high-level assumption. When you get into the details of it, your biggest cost between health insurance, between workers' comp, all these things, what is it? It's the payroll taxes. The payroll taxes are the most. So what can we do to not get taxed on 900 grand? Well, we can start taking our benefits, like this $9,000, putting it into pre-tax vehicles, which would lower the taxable, the employer tax liability from, on this employee, 200 grand down to 191,000. Now we can start playing around with those numbers. Again, this is Steve Taylor with Think HR and Insurance Services. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found this video helpful. If you feel like you need some more details, then feel free to book a 30-minute benefit strategy session, and I'd be happy to go over your specific situation, and we can get to your real number. Take care and have a good rest of your week.